Your experience and other people's experiences are the ways that you help to ensure your success as a real estate investor. So listen carefully. Some of these tips might save you in the future. I am Christina Suter, and this is the Real Estate Breakthrough Show, where we talk about the reality of real estate, the mindset you need in order to face the reality of what it is, and tips and tricks to get you moving forward in investing. I am your host, Christina Suter. The operative piece is, and it worked as a financial investment, even at $250,000 over asking, you still had positive cash flow.
Correct. That was the deal because I mean, most of the time, when you're talking to the general public about investing, the idea is, okay, you get a lender, a bank will come in, but the bank tells you the terms of the loan. It's going to be 4%, 30-year amortization or whatever the terms are. And there's no flexibility in those terms. Banks aren't really, they're like, hey, this is it, take it or leave it. And so, but when you're dealing directly with a seller and a seller carries back the loan, a seller agrees to an installment sale. And so in that situation, there's no rules. You can figure out however that money's going to be paid back in an installment sale at any rate you want. You can say, hey, we're going to pay you back, $5 a year for the next, 3 years, and then we'll pay you $1,000 a month or whatever it is, or we'll pay you 0% or we'll pay you 20%. You can pretty much, the loan term can be as long or as short as you want to be, is whatever works for the parties. So that's really where, and that flexibility is what allows you to buy, because you can negotiate to bring down monthly payments. Is really the biggest deal I feel like in any type of financing is really the monthly payments.
I chose to go bigger on the bigger complexes so that I knew I had to focus staff only on my property.
On your property,
so that manager, so that manager, maintenance guy, assistant, those are my people. And then I hire the third 3% person to oversee them. So if you're going to like a secondary or tertiary market, the biggest challenge I've seen, one of the biggest that can lead to your complete failure, is a lack of good staff in a market.
I feel like real estate isn't just a destination, it's a path and it's a journey, and you kind of pick up little things as you go. And one little niche in real estate will kind of open a door for another one, but then make you stronger, just centered. And I think that's what's happened to me, is started that duplex, well, really that lot, and then kind of did some little things along the way to find what I really want to do.
Well, I have been in my career where, as an investor, where I put too many eggs in one basket, right? So the diversification of not just property type, but market, cash flow appreciation, all the things that you mentioned, I think is that well-rounded, diverse portfolio, and that balance is really where you get the highest success rate of anybody if you're focused on real estate.
So the number one message that I deliver to my clients is your holding period of an asset is forever. Because you do the work one time, you buy one property and you hold it one time, and it pays you forever. And that's what creates the wealth. And so just think about it. If you are 30 years old and you buy just one rental property a year, by the time you're 50, you've bought 20 properties. And if you do research on the big people that have made their money in real estate, they will tell you, hands down, what do you wish you would have done different? And every one of them will say, I wish I held more properties.
Real estate has been the one thing that through all this time has sustained us, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it was joint venturing on wholesaling some deals, whether it was selling investors properties or managing their fix and flips. I did a lot of that too. My niche was out of state investors. And in 2014 was when we had started investing. We were kind of back up on our feet. And that's when I saw, wait, I'm helping investors make all this money. They're making a check of 40, 50 grand. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting my commission of, $6 grand, 10 grand, whatever. Yeah. And at that point, and I was buying at the courthouse steps with a good friend of mine. So I had the full background. Yeah, and that's why I try to explain to people sometimes. I get, oh my gosh, all this stuff. I do. but it's taken me 25 years to compile my experience. It didn't happen overnight.
I had a mentor when I was probably, 30, call it. And he said, listen, man, like, this is it. If you want to build a company and you want to get wealthy, this is what you do. Work your ass off for 5 years and never quit, and set the conditions to where you can grow a team. Boom, done. Like, that's it. And I think that's really like, my financial freedom doesn't come from me. My financial freedom comes from, and I'm going to talk not in dollars, but human capital.
In the beginning, I didn't even know that I could do real estate deals. I didn't even know that it was that possible for me. I thought that was possible for other people, but not for me. And I thought that for like 20 years until I uncovered it and found out what it's all about. And anybody can make money in it, in real estate, if they choose to dedicate themselves to it.
Well, I do things a little bit different than some, and some people have called me crazy for doing it. Nonetheless, it is what it is. I've built up my investors by doing podcasts like this, by speaking at real estate events across the country, by giving a nice presence online, and inviting people out to my projects so they can see me in action. They've seen that. So that built it up.
I feel like house flipping at that time, or at any time, is giving back to your community, rectifying these homes and bringing it back on the tax roll, giving people a beautiful place to stay. And then I feel the same about multifamily and giving good quality housing for those in the community.
I find that if you can add value, if you can be a part of that conversation where people say, hey, I have this problem, or I'm looking to see if I can retire, I'm looking to see if I can become financially free, because then I can really go after my why. I can travel, I can write that book, I can spend more time with family, and the why is so important. And so to me, I want to be a part of helping people to get to their why. And if we work together, that's great. If not, it's just so rewarding, though, to feel like you can help people on their journey. And I think passive income is something that so many professionals need to hear about. Wall Street is multi-billion-dollar firms, and it's all driven by so much money's going into this, and yet you're really not going to become wealthy over time by investing in just, mutual funds, stocks, even index funds, these type of things. So it's finding other types of assets where we're seeing, very consistently 10 to 20% return per year. Obviously, every investment's different, but when I started hearing stuff like that, I was just like, it kind of really made me think, is this even possible? And then taking a step back and looking at what really wealthy people do, and the majority of a lot of very wealthy people, they have their money in different parts of institutional real estate.
Real estate is not like buying a stock, buying a share of Apple. It's buying like a living and breathing asset that you have to work every day. And that's what we pride ourselves on. We have a great team with us. Who, we can never be successful without that team, who does all of our asset management and property management and leasing and accounting and all the back office and investor relations and communications, all that stuff. And this team, what we all have agreed to do is kind of roll up our sleeves every day to create value for our investors.
And the class really delves into the time value money, which is really what we are talking about. $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. So people always ask me, should I get a 15-year mortgage or should I get a 30-year mortgage? And I said, well, just look at it. How valuable was the dollar 15 years ago? And how valuable was the dollar 30 years ago? So wouldn't you rather be making payments in the future with less valuable dollars? And if you do a 30-year mortgage, you're paying smaller payments and you're paying them further out in the future with less valuable dollars. I always recommend people get as long a payoff time as they possibly can with the lowest payments, because you can always add principal to every payment to pay it down faster if that's what your goal is, because your goals in your investing life change.
I just never saw another thing that could bring the kind of returns that real estate does with the and give you the same type of freedom, which was for me probably the number one thing, just having that ability to be able to do what I want when I want.
Americans have this incredible innate access to incredible opportunities through these different organizations like the RIAs, like the Phoebes, and they're across the country. And someone like myself, where I've come from a country which doesn't have that, I was just like, feed me more, like a thirsty, camel in the desert, right? I was just like, this is exactly what I need to just kickstart my career. So for anyone who's listening out there, definitely don't underestimate the power of these organizations, because they can truly, truly kickstart your career, as they've done with mine, to being better and to meeting partners and to meeting investors and to having opportunities fall at your feet.
I wanted to have a day job, so to speak, that allowed me to, run an active income business, but was also going to give me the exposure and the experience and the knowledge to grow a real estate portfolio in the space that I wanted to be in.
There's a misconception. People think like, hey, if someone's doing my tax returns, right now for tax, it's upcoming tax deadline. If they're doing my tax returns for last year, I'm assuming that they're helping me plan for next year as well. That's a huge mistake, right? To make that assumption. It's very well, someone like you who is proactive and your CPA knows you're on top of it. And so you're talking to them during the year and creating that story, almost recording the story as you go through the year, so that by tax time, you're just summarizing what already happened. Versus I think a lot of investors, even though they might hear and feel like they know the strategy, oh, I can take depreciation. Oh, there's 1031 exchange. But if you're not actually implementing it correctly before you sell the properties, then your CPA, however good they are, however they specialize in real estate, they're not going to be able to help you fix it.
People need to realize that, you're doing a real estate transaction, right? But you're also doing a securities transaction. So there are, as you said, there are federal regulations of, if you are going to be raising money from passive investors, you have to be aware that you're selling a security as well as buying a piece of real property.
And once you're in a position where you no longer have to worry about cash flow or finances, that's where the real self-actualization starts to come into play, to where you can start to, develop your skills in your business and focus on real meaningful work.
The nice thing about real estate, one of the nicest things about real estate is anybody can manage any way they want. I mean, within the confines of being legal. You can keep your rents under market if you want, because you have you own it free and clear and you can afford to do so, or you like the people and
right.
Whatever.
Or stable, loyal tenant base, whatever.
That's where the opportunity can be, because it's not as refined or perfected as, say, a company like Apple or something, where there's top quality people running this thing, lots of eyes on it. It could be one person in a $20 million apartment deal who's mismanaging it, and that can be an opportunity.
I think that probably the most important thing is systems. And the reason I think systems are so important, that first of all, they're helping me scale. But I also think they're incredibly important because you cannot just rely on people. If you just rely on people and your property manager leaves, then you're in terrible shape, right? They've taken all that information with them.
I always feel that the biggest hurdle in real estate is between your ears, that getting yourself to do it, getting yourself to learn, getting yourself to meet with people, that is the biggest thing. The concepts of doing real estate are not that difficult. They are not difficult. It's, like I said, most of it is you motivating, getting up off the couch, turning the TV off and learning. And that's, that's the biggest piece.
That's what everyone's looking for. Like passive income is, look on the internet, every ad that's basically work from home, make passive income, etc. It's all a myth except for real estate. And then even within real estate, there's a lot of verticals that's very challenging to do. But not only is it passive, the predictability of outcome is very high if you know how to pinpoint recession resistant opportunities that are going to perform in all stages of the cycle.
It's a real benefit to be able to have the knowledge, if you will, or the data, and also to be working with the right people. Because at the end of the day, I'm not the bank and I can't make them, give loan dollars if they don't want to. But obviously we know our market, we're working with the right people, and they believe in the level of analysis that we do, and they know the market as well. So if you have, I don't want to use, cliches or whatever, but if, the sandbox that you're playing in and you have all the ducks in a row, you have a higher degree of certainty for success.
I think as a real estate investor, to remember that, yes, you are running a business, but you're in the business
of what is someone's home or their shelter, which is super important. And I think being able to, I think if I had to go back and do it, I would have really taken the time to maybe get to understand what was really going on and ask different questions while I was in escrow and maybe when I first went to talk to her as well.
You have to deal with someone that has foreign investor experience and real estate experience as well, and knows exactly what's going to happen, and knows that, if someone's investing from Spain, for example, I have to be knowledgeable of laws, tax rules and laws in Spain. I'd probably have to speak to their accountant in Spain. So there's many different moving parts compared with when we're investing if you're a US individual, you're investing in the US, you're just talking to your US professional advisors, and that's kind of it.
This is Christina Suter with the Real Estate Breakthrough Show. You will find us on Spotify, iTunes. We're also on YouTube and Roku TV. Now, guys, make sure that you hit either the like button or the subscribe button. And here's why. It's not just because I'm an egotistical maniac that needs lots and lots of praise. It's because if this work is valuable and you believe other people should be able to participate in it, hear it, be impacted by it, and help them move forward in their real estate investing, your like and your subscribe will make sure that I get in front of more people. We'll make sure that this message gets in front of more people. Make sure that more people are successful in investing in real estate and their financial freedom for the future. This is Christina Suter on the Real Estate Breakthrough Show.